Hello friends, today in this video we shall discuss code for independent directors as per Schedule 4 of Companies Act. Let's see what the schedule prescribes. Code is a guide to professional conduct for independent directors. Adherence to these standards by independent directors and fulfillment of their responsibilities in a professional and faithful manner will promote confidence of the investment community, particularly minority shareholders, regulators, and companies in the institution of independent directors. Guidelines for professional conduct. An independent director shall uphold ethical standard for integrity and probity, act objectively. Independent director act objectively and constructively while exercising his duties. Independent director shall exercise his responsibilities in a bona fide manner in the interest of the company. An independent director devotes sufficient time and attention to his professional obligations for informed and balanced decision making. An independent director shall not allow any extraneous considerations that will vitiate his exercise of objective independent judgment in the paramount interest of the company as a whole, and while concurring in or dissenting from collective judgment of the board in its decision making. An independent director shall not abuse his position to the detriment of the company or its shareholder for the purpose of gaining direct or indirect personal advantage or advantage of any associated person. An independent director shall refrain from any action that would lead to loss of his independence. Where circumstances arise which make an independent director lose his independence, the independent director must immediately inform the board accordingly. Independent director must immediately inform the board accordingly. An independent director shall assist the company in implementing best corporate governance practices. Now, role and function. The independent director shall help in bringing an independent judgment to bear on board's deliberation, especially on an issue of strategy, performance, risk management, resources, key appointments, and standards of conduct. An independent director shall bring an objective view in the evaluation of performance of board and management. An independent director shall scrutinize the performance of management in meeting agreed goals and objectives and monitor the reporting of performance. An independent director shall satisfy themselves. An independent director shall satisfy himself on the integrity of financial information, and that financial control and the system of risk management, and that the financial control and the system of risk management are robust and defensible. An independent director shall safeguard the interest of all stakeholders, particularly the minority shareholders. An independent director shall balance the conflicting interests of the stakeholders. An independent director shall determine appropriate level of remuneration of executive directors, key managerial personnel, senior management, and have prime role in appointing and where necessary recommend removal of executive directors, key managerial personnel, and senior management. An independent director shall moderate and attribute in the interest of the company as a whole in a situation of conflict between the management and shareholders' interest. Now let's see the duties. The independent director shall undertake appropriate induction and regularly update and refresh their skill, knowledge, and familiarity with the company. The independent director shall seek appropriate clarification or amplification of information, and where necessary take and follow appropriate professional advice and opinion of outside experts at the expense of the company. The independent director shall strive to attend all meetings of the board of directors and of the board committees and of the board committees of which he is a member. The independent director shall participate constructively and actively in the committee of the board in which they are chairperson or members. The independent director shall strive to attend the general meeting of the company. The independent directors shall, where they have concerns about the running of the company or a proposed action, ensure that these are addressed by the board, and to the extent that they are not resolved, they shall insist that their concerns are recorded in the minutes of the board meeting. The independent directors shall keep themselves well informed about the company and the external environment in which it operates. The independent directors shall not unfairly obstruct the functioning of an otherwise proper board or committee of the board. Independent directors shall pay sufficient attention and ensure that adequate deliberations are held before approving related party transactions, and they shall assure themselves that same are in the interest of the company. The independent director shall ascertain and ensure that the company has an adequate and functional legal mechanism, and to ensure that the interest of the person who uses such mechanism are not prejudicially affected on account of such use. Independent directors shall report concerns about the unethical behavior, actual or suspected fraud, violation of the company's code of conduct, or ethics policy. Independent directors shall act within their authority. They shall assist in protecting the legitimate interest of the company, shareholders, and its employees. Independent directors shall not disclose confidential information including commercial secrets, technologies, advertisements, sales promotion plans, unpublished price sensitive information unless such disclosure is expressly approved by the board or required by the law. Now, manner of appointment of independent directors. The appointment process of independent directors shall be the independent of the company. The appointment process of the independent directors shall be the independent of the company management. While selecting independent directors, the board shall ensure that there is appropriate balance of skills, experience, knowledge in the board, so as to enable the board to discharge its function and duties effectively. So board shall ensure that the appointment of independent directors of the company shall be approved at the meeting of shareholders. The appointment of independent directors of the company shall be approved at the meeting of shareholders. Extraordinary statement attached to the notice to the meeting for approving the appointment of independent director shall include a statement that in the opinion of the board the independent directors proposed to be appointed fulfills the conditions specified in the Act and the rules made thereunder, and that the proposed director is independent of the management. The appointment of independent directors shall be formalized through letter of appointment shall be formalized through a letter of appointment which shall set out the terms of appointment, the terms of appointment, the expectation of the board from the appointed director, the board level committee in which the director is expected to serve and its tasks, the fiduciary duties that come with such appointment along with accompanying liabilities, and letter of appointment shall state the provision of directors and officers, insurance if any, and it will state the code of business ethics that the company expects its director and employees to follow, and the letter of appointment shall state the list of action that a director should not do while functioning as such in the company. Letter of appointment shall state the remuneration, mentioning periodic fees, reimbursement of expense for participation in the board and other meetings, and profit related commission if any. The terms and condition of appointment of independent directors shall be open for inspection at the registered office of the company by any member during the normal business hours. So it will remain open for inspection at the registered office of the company by any member during the normal business hours. The terms and conditions of appointment of independent directors shall also be posted on the company's website. Now, reappointment of independent director. The reappointment of independent director shall be on the basis of report of performance evaluation. Reappointment will be on the basis of performance evaluation. Now, resignation or removal. Now, resignation or removal of independent director. The resignation or removal of independent director shall be in the same manner as provided in sections 168 or 169 of the Act. The independent director who resigns, who is removed from the board, who resigns or who is removed from the board of the company shall be replaced by a new independent director within 3 months from the date of such resignation or removal as the case may be. Where company fulfills the requirement of independent directors in its board, even without filling the vacancy created by such resignation or removal, as the case may be, The requirement of replacement by new independent director shall not apply. In that case, requirement of replacement shall not apply. Now separation. Now separate meetings. Separate meetings. Independent directors of the company shall not hold at least one meeting. Shall hold for at least one meeting in a financial year without attendance of independent directors and members of the company. Independent directors of the company shall hold at least one meeting in a financial year without attendance of non-independent director and members of the management. All independent directors of the company shall strive to be present at such meeting. So at least one meeting in a financial year. So all independent directors shall strive to present at such meeting. The separate meeting of independent directors shall review the performance of non-independent directors and the board as a whole. The separate meeting of independent directors shall review the performance of chairman of the company, taking into account the views of executive directors and non-executive directors. Separate meeting of independent directors shall assess the quality, quantity and timeliness of flow of information between the company management and the board that is necessary for the board to effectively and reasonably perform their duties. Now evaluation and evaluation mechanism. Now evaluation mechanism of independent directors. The performance evaluation of independent directors shall be done by the entire board of directors. Excluding the directors being evaluated. On the basis of report of performance evaluation, it shall be determined whether to extend or continue the terms of appointment or appointment of independent directors. So that's all about code for independent directors. Thank you for watching.